Good afternoon, and let me welcome you on behalf of Intesa Sanpaolo at one further appointment of our networking talk series. Over the last 1.5 years, we have been going through some of the main pillars on which industrial value chains rely. We also had the chance to deep dive into some industries such as agribusiness and automotive. What we are here for today is the so-called twin transition. To keep it simple, under such label goes the phenomenon that refers to a need for digitalization to stay on track with the world's ambitious sustainability targets. We will delve into the topic as usual, thanks to knowledgeable and prominent speakers that will shortly be introduced by a video that we are going to broadcast. But ahead of getting to the heart of the topic, let me frame a snapshot of Intesa Sanpaolo. We are one of the largest European banks with a strong footprint in Italy and a wide international presence. Part of the internationality of the group is due to the international subsidiary banks division, whose activities cover all 13 countries from where our audience is connected and where Intesa Sanpaolo operates through fully owned local banks. But before handing over to our speakers, here are some brief technical information for the audience. You are allowed to activate the subtitles by following the instructions in the chat box on your screen. Video and audio are switched off to avoid background noise, and then use the chat box to write the questions you would like to ask our speakers. The question time will be over 15 minutes before the end of the plenary session. Now let's introduce the speakers. Here we are again, and as first, let me welcome our main host, who is Mr. Giuseppe Ferraro. Giuseppe Ferraro is the head of the Corporate and SME department at the international subsidiary banks. Thanks to him, we have been hosting all the appointments held so far, and he will introduce today's topic, focusing on the strategic relevance the twin transition has, both for the bank and for our clients. Please, Giuseppe, go ahead, take the floor, and welcome with us.
Thank you, Francesco, and welcome to all our guests today. Yes, I'm honored to be here. This is the fourth networking talk of our series, and we talk about something that is pretty much transformational. We're talking about the twin transition of SMEs, digitalization and sustainability, which, as we all know, are impacting our lives, not only as a professional, not only as entrepreneurs, but also as citizens. As a bank, as a global bank, we really, witness a lot of these secular trends, but this time around, these revolutions in digitalization and sustainability are really here to stay and to shape our future. That's why we decided to organize this digital meeting, if I may, about what are the impacts of digitalization and sustainability in our business, in our lives, and also what the bank can do for you to help you in reaching, your goals. As you know, Intesa Sanpaolo is the partner of choices of many clients around the world, in Italy, of course, but also and especially in our geographies in Central and Eastern Europe. We are really proud for this relationship with you. And of course, today we will get a very big experience from our panelists that come from the world of the universities and of the consultancy. Also, you know, some along with, of course, Ms. Blandino and Ms. Grittini, who are really, you know, very important part of our team in the bank. I really wish you a nice stay with us today. I invite you to ask as many questions as you can. Take the opportunity to really, you know, use us as much as you can, because these are topics that are very important and they really will shape, you know, the way we do business for in the future. So thank you again. Enjoy the day, and back to you, Francesco.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe, and thank you for your wishes. Now let's go to the heart of the topic with our first speaker, who is Mr. Maurizio Massaro, and I am asking him to join us on stage. Maurizio is an associate professor at Ca' Foscari University of Venice. He also works for the Venice School of Management. He's ranked as among the top 2% cited scholars by Stanford University in 2023. Beyond being an academic, he had the previous experience as a consultant, so he deeply knows what the problems of corporates, of small and medium enterprises can be. Now, let's hand the floor over to him, asking as first, we have often heard about a green-brown paradox. In a time where this is taking center stage, in which way will the companies be allowed to compete?
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you for inviting me today, and thank you for this very challenging question. So before going to and trying to answer your question, I think that we have to focus on the concept of being green, which is the first part of your question. So we all know that sustainability is a very important thing. And of course, there are also huge discussions about the denial approach and the more scientific approach. On the denial approach, we don't believe that the global warming is caused by the human action, while most of the science evidences basically tell us that the human action is actually increasing the temperature. And what it is, however, not debatable is the fact that we are facing a huge increase in the number of extreme weather events. Those weather events, as you can see from the chart here, are not only increasing in terms of numbers, they also are increasing in terms of impact and damages that they are causing. As you can see, the top of the chart measures almost 300 billion euros per year in terms of damages. And this has a huge impact if you think about also in the financial sector, in the GDP development. So this is a huge problem that we have to face. And of course, governments all over the world are trying to face these challenges, trying to develop actions in order to reduce the CO2 emission to somehow provide a solution to the problem. But unfortunately, we all know, for example, to mention a few examples, the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the European goals for 2030 with the CO2 emissions cap that we want to develop. But unfortunately, those problems are very complex and they almost never allow for very simple solutions. So in actual fact, what we can see is that sometimes even the fight against climate change may lead to unwanted side effects. And this is what the green-brown paradox means. So to better understand it, let's focus on the first part, on the term paradox. What's a paradox? Basically, a paradox is a statement where you reading a statement, following the line of reasonment, you end up with a solution that somehow is surprising, is basically contradicting even the common sense. And so in the case of the green-brown paradox, what we are saying is that fighting against the global warming will actually cause in the short term will end up in an increase of the CO2 emissions. And to better understand that, we have to think about the normal behavior that we would have having an asset like, for example, oil, that you assume that in the future will decrease in terms of monetary value. So what should people do in this situation? But probably they will maximize the value using the asset now that has the maximum value.
Of course.
And so because we are basically exploiting the fuel, the oil at the moment, we are actually ended up increasing the CO2 emissions. But this is only one phase of the problem. The other phase of the problem is that when you basically have big announcements, people could be scared. We might have, some riots or even people that do not want that, and we face that. If you think about what happened even recently in Europe against the farming actions that the European Union, farming plans that the European Union had. And the last but not least element is somehow connected with the fact that sometimes those aims, like I'm talking about the SDGs goals, they might conflict each other. So if you think about, for example, the poverty alleviation, we all know, or maybe evidences tell us that if we want just to eradicate extreme poverty, the impact in terms of CO2 emission will be pretty low. But if we want to bring those people to a minimum wage of, let's say, $5.50 per day, which is something that is not a huge or comparable to Western countries, the impact in terms of CO2 emission will be huge. We're talking about an increase, the amount will be increased by 20%. So the problem is that the green-brown paradox somehow shows that we cannot tackle these problems using very simple solutions. But the consequence is, and this is a big question, should we somehow give up the idea of having a more fair, sustainable, and competitive world? Well, thanks God, the answer is no. There is still hope. And the hope could come from what it is called the twin transition. So basically the idea that innovation will provide us new solutions to tackle these existing problems. And the twin transition means that using digital technologies, we will be able to provide new solutions that will help us to create a more fair, sustainable, and competitive world. But to better understand how this works, I think that we should understand first how companies could actually develop their strategies. Well, going back to a very basic course in any management curricula, you can understand that every company has to answer 4 main questions, like what are the products that we want to develop, as you can see in the chart in the right corner. So product or services. The second question is who are the customers that we want to serve? The third question is how can we provide the services and the products that we want to provide to our customers in an efficient and effective way? And the third and the fourth question is why should we do all these steps? So when we think about innovating our strategy and you think about innovations that could work, for example, on the how, we are talking about what we call the technology push. So basically we have a technology that we can apply to implement and develop new ways of doing things. On the other side, if we think about the who, and we want to innovate the way that we basically develop the relationship with our customers, we sometimes talk about what it is called a market pull. So basically there are new needs that are coming from our customers. We try to tackle them to develop new products in order to somehow increase our market share. Or we can try to work on the what. That means basically changing the design of our products to tackle new needs and develop new products. At the center, when we have what it is called a purpose-driven innovation. So basically when we change the meaning of our products to develop something that becomes absolutely new. And because it becomes absolutely new and we are the kings of this new competitive arena, then it means that probably we can optimize all other axes forcing this approach. Well, if you apply this concept to digitalization, we can actually see that digitalization provides new business models. As you can see, we have this triangle here, where on the right corner we have the servitization business model. On the top of the triangle we have the platform business model. So servitization answers the what questions, platform business models answers the who questions, smart factory business models answers the how questions, and in the middle we have the data-driven business model that answers the why questions. So if we try to somehow split the analysis and focus and in order to provide a deep dive on each one of those new business models, we start from the data-driven business models. In the data-driven business models, as you can see in the figure, we are trying to move from exploration to exploitation. It means that thanks to the power of digitalization, we can create products or services that are tailored around our customers. The customization possibility that we can have increases a lot. And this allows us to increase the engagement. That means that we can create more stable and more effective relationships with our customers. And of course, because we have more data, we will be able to basically better develop our products. And the question should be, okay, what are the implications in terms of sustainability? Of course, the fact that we can provide better customized products, it means that we can somehow create or give our products a longer life cycle. And this means that we can fight what it is called the overproduction. Additionally, if we move to the smart factory business model, where you can see we move from a serial production to a singular production, it means that thanks to the technology, we can actually provide products to our customers that have been optimized also in the process, meaning reduction in the consuming energy, for example, and resources in general. And of course, here we have a lot of investments that have to be developed inside factories to tackle this new challenge. The last one that works on the servitization business model, as you can see here, is the business model that basically moves the concept from owning stuff to having access to. I guess that from probably one of the clearest examples that I can make on this is the car sharing. If you think about the automotive industry, our cars are very expensive, but for 96% of the time, they stay in our garage. So if we can somehow move the concept to increase the efficiency in using the car, we can actually move from possessing the car to just using the car, creating a totally new approach that somehow highlights the need and pushes the dematerialization process, meaning that we will be more sustainable in terms of new CO2 production. At the same time, we will be better in some processes like the customer care or the customer success in a more proactive way. So basically here we're talking about moving from products to services. The last one is probably the most complex one, is the one that basically focuses on the platform business model. In the platform business model, as you can see, we are moving from a standard supply chain approach to a more complex platform, where basically the platform is a place where producers and consumers can actually interact, but not only producers versus consumers, but also producers versus other producers. To give you an example, probably you might think about the smartphone. If you think about all the apps that are in the smartphone, and you think about the fact that you can have even apps that allow you to have a broadcasting, and you think, what's the connection between broadcasting and a mobile phone? Well, the fact that you can have a service that provides you broadcasting means that you can increase the way that you use your smartphone. More people will have smartphones. It means that you will increase the market for all other producers of other apps that will benefit from basically from the fact that more people are basically using the smartphone. So the whole process increases the value and creates more complex connections that are not only connected between producers and consumers, but are somehow strongly interconnected. And the value created somehow in the platform is much higher compared to the traditional single approaches between producer and consumers. And therefore, the focus comes from resources to the whole ecosystem. Who is in the ecosystem? What are the interconnections that we can create? And of course, digitalizations in this case can actually provide new ways to develop the whole process. At the same time, it pushes a new role, which is the role of the orchestrator. So basically the company or those companies that are actually managing the whole platform and allowing all other actors to interact within the platform. So does this mean that this is a very easy solution? Well, the answer is no. There are challenges that we have to overcome. There are changes that we have to implement. And just to name the most important, the first one is the internal changes. Because when you have to change the way that you usually do things, it means that you have to apply a new mindset to existing problems, to be open to new forms and new solutions. At the same time, you have to be open to the way that we have to possibly redefine our business models. It means that we are not selling the product as we usually did, but we can, for example, in the example of servitization, sell a service connected to our product. Of course, those technologies are not so easy to be implemented. That means that they have to interact each other and to interact with the whole organization, meaning with people, with other systems, with even physical systems that we have in our organization. So there will be for sure, because there is a human side in this process, there will be definitely the problem of resistance to change. This is very common in all the organizations, because when you used to do things in a certain way and then something new happens, then fear is the first reaction normally in all the organization. And well, if we have to add one more thing to the whole process, we have to understand that the founding process is very important. And this might come both in terms of facilitations that can come to from the government. It means like incentives and other ways that could push companies to somehow implement those technologies. There are solutions that have to be connected to the banks and the role that they have in financing and promoting those solutions. And do not forget the role of banks that they have in real processes, like in managing, for example, transactions, money transfer, and everything that connects to the whole process. So if I have to, to give you your takeaway for my speech is, first, the problems are always complex. That means that easy solution cannot be taken as, okay, this is a problem that we will easily solve in this way. Usually those simple solutions are always wrong. Therefore, this leads to a green-brown paradox, where basically even fighting CO2 emissions or creating actions to increase sustainability will actually create side effects that we have to tackle, especially in the short term. Technology could definitely help, and the twin transitions, so the idea that digitalization and sustainability work hand in hand to solve this complex problem, is definitely a way to go. But this is not an easy step. We have to think about the challenges we have to solve, and the changes we have to do in companies and the overall system to provide a very effective and efficient solutions.
So, thank you very much. Maurizio, your overview was, let's say, at the same time, very wide and very deep. And I'm sure it will raise many questions among our audience. But to further understand aspects of the problem, I'm now asking on stage Alice Grittini. Alice Grittini is head of ESG Business Acceleration of Intesa Sanpaolo, and she's covering different ESG streams on behalf of the group as a whole, where you probably know the topic has a major relevance. And I'd like to start the speech of Alicia with one straightforward question. We just gathered from Mr. Massaro that digitalization and sustainability go hand in hand, so they cannot be unbundled. Well, since they are priority topics, can tackling them together be a winning strategy or not?
Yeah, for sure, yes. And Professor Massaro also described a very dynamic business environment, let me say, with a lot of challenges. And in this landscape of business transformation, the twin transition would represent for SMEs mainly something that's becoming priority for all of our companies. The term twin transition embeds, encapsulates the simultaneous journey toward both sustainability and digitalization. And this would be the key. Approach them simultaneously, giving the companies the opportunity to achieve competitive advantages. We firmly believe, as Intesa Sanpaolo, as a group, that the sustainability strategy and the technological and the digitalization strategy are not two parallel parts of a strategy that not collaborate, but finding ways of and point of interaction would generate even more synergies at company level. I wanted to more concretely enter into deep dive on which would be the benefit for companies that approach twin transformation. And I reported in this slide example of a few KPIs that are coming from researches and studies where were analyzed more than 1,000 companies, from the traditional ones to the green tech innovation companies. And as you can see from the first and the second graph, commercial performances, but also company valuation are higher in case of companies that are able to combine both two elements in their strategy, social, environmental, but also digitalization. On top of this, we have to bear in mind that twin transformation companies are also able to achieve faster than their competitors all the sustainability goals, the SDGs we were speaking about a few minutes ago, that are becoming part of the regulatory framework also, that ask companies to achieve targets in terms of CO2 emission with intermediate goals within 2030 and final goals between 2050. So there are several benefits trying to approach the twin transformation journey.
Oh, thank you, but thank you for laying out these principles. And now another question comes to my mind, of course, since within companies you do know better than I do, principles are important, but projects are probably even more important, even though following those principles. So what are, given your perspective and your experience, the concrete initiatives that small and medium enterprises may undertake to start going or to keep going on the path of twin transition?
Well, of course, doesn't exist a universal recipe for all the typology of companies, but for sure there are several concrete examples that I can share with you in which we can clearly see that starting from the point that sustainability is not anymore a choice, we need to approach sustainability, analyze for companies in a critical manner the environment in which they operate and focusing on which are the strategic needs they have would help them better understanding how they could combine sustainability and digitalization, and consider also that digitalization represents one of the main enablers in achieving sustainable goals. Here I selected a few examples of how technology should support SME companies, selecting three main relevant sectors. One example from agribusiness sector, real estate, and also transportation. Speaking about X-Farm, we are speaking about an Italian company, an Italian tech company that aims at helping farmers in becoming more efficient, introducing technology in their process, in the whole process and daily activities. This software, concretely using the satellite technologies, help farmers because give them access through an app to the mapping of their crops real time through the mobile phone, and the output that farmer receives is not only monitor the crops but also some insight concerning the action that should be completed. For example, sow soil, water plants, use fertilizers, and in case of detection of crop disease are also suggested the remediation action that should immediately take in place in order to reduce the negative effect. Which is this what? That also small farmers applying this kind of technology should improve the level of efficiency in their daily activities, should also have a benefit in terms of their profits, but they would also achieve important sustainability goals. For example, reducing the usage of scarce resources like water, or reducing the emission of CO2 in the environment, reducing the, at minimum needed, the use of pesticides, for example. In the second case, real estate, Siemens, we know that Siemens is one of the most important leading technology company in Germany. One of the innovative solutions that Siemens is providing is related to real estate sector, is a software named Building X that offers support to building managers in order to properly manage the consumption of energy, but more in general the entire environment of the building, taking, combining data that comes from the external and data coming from the usage of the building. For example, the space is booked, and in this way the software would help planning and also correct the plan of best environment, internal environment, also in terms of usage of heating, air conditioning, refresh of water, and any change in the environmental forecast would be considered and redirect the usage of energy for the most level of efficiency in the building. So, reduction of cost, but also reduction of emission.
Of course.
Again, the last one example is focused on transportation. Oracle provided a solution for companies finding and helping transportation companies in defining which would be the best trajectory of shipping. This would reduce the level of consumption of and the timing spent in the distribution, in the transportation activities, and on the other hand, it also generates benefit in terms of efficiency at company level and reduction of resources and emission produced again. So there are those are three very concrete examples
Yes.
that can be applied and are dedicated for supporting SME companies in this twin transformation.
Well, thank you. Let's say that after talking about companies, the third question to you comes naturally. Since you hold a senior position in a large financial institution, I would ask you what is the role that financial institutions, banks like ours, can play in sustaining their clients in going the path towards twin transition?
Well, let me say that historically, financial institutions have covered a role of supporter, of promoter of the investment, transformative investment in all the main changes happened. Sustainability should be considered a sort of revolution, because it's really impacting the all the sectors, all the framework, all the activities, and banks can again support companies, helping them representing a sort of engine of this transformation through services, through capital, through investments. More in concrete, there are we identified three main streams, three main clusters of activities. The first one is the dedicated financing. So we can promote sustainability and digitalization through a dedicated discount offering for our customers in providing financing activities. And I can to make it more concrete, describe to you, share with you a real example from ISBD experience, from the experience of International Subsidiary Bank Division. Last year we launched a product that's S-loan product that's focused on discount for customers who are able to commit themselves in achieving sustainable goals. While one of the main enablers in achieving sustainability is digitalization, as we were saying, one of those big S-loans that we closed last year was focused on improving the level of line production efficiency. And doing this way, not only they reduced of around 60% the usage and the absorption of energy, and so with a positive impact in cost reduction, but they also increased the level of environmental perspective of the company. One another example would offer financing technologies through a bundle offering. It's again a concrete example that comes from International Subsidiary Bank Division, the approach of find external partners, external from financial institution area, that cover some specific services. In example, in Croatia, we had chance to close last year an agreement, a commercial agreement with E.ON for photovoltaic panel, and we can also offer a bundle offering for customers. For example, we can take in consideration needs of customers of our SME clients for recharge tower, for electric vehicles. So doing this way, we are promoting technology, we are promoting the transition towards sustainability in a concrete manner, helping them through an offer that's more rich of services and discount in terms of lending. The last area I'd like to share with you very concretely is the support that financial institution can give to customers during the transition through advisory activities. So, Professor before was explaining that it's a very complicated framework. We cannot say are simple issues to be solved. And financial institution from this perspective can really help customers, companies, SME customers, understanding and drawing together which would be the step of evolution towards sustainability. There are also a framework that comes of incentives that comes from governative and supranational institutions, for example, the National Plan of Recovery and Resilience. In this case, banks can offer a bridge lending, a bridge credit, a bridge financing, and also co-finance this project of development towards sustainability. So we are really changing also our model of services, enlarging the product catalog with new product, new services, and one another key element is that we are building all those new offerings, listening our customers and understanding which are their needs.
Well, thank you very much, Alice. What you were telling us, if I may summarize it, is that the financial system as a whole, including the subsidies coming from governments, from supranational institutions, may help lead in the double transition that is ahead and unavoidable. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. Thank you so much, but we are open to the questions at the end of the panel session. Now let me call on stage Mr. Emanuele Verratti. Emanuele Verratti is a senior partner at Bain & Company, and he is the head of the digital practice in Italy. Emanuele is also the head of the Milan Digital Hub of Bain & Company. Being a digital expert, Emanuele led several digital transformation programs for leading firms across all industries, including advanced manufacturing, just to give you an example, but also services, transportation, and logistics. I leave him the floor. Please, Emanuele, go ahead. We are keen to listen to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. Before jumping into digital, I'd like to give just a word on the current state of operations in general. We are seeing big challenges for our operation given to the macroeconomic situation, and it's pretty transversal. We have challenges within a disruption in the supply chain, on labor tightness and the hardness in finding the right capabilities, and the natural resource shortage, sustainability, and so on. And we never seen this kind of challenges in the past, I would say, 20, 25 years. It's something pretty new. And digital is coming here because at the same time, digital can be a support in facing these challenges, as well as a challenge itself, because of course it's becoming a really strategic decision on technologies. We are seeing that digital investment can lead to better revenues, lesser costs, higher quality, and so on. So it's becoming really key for companies to take the right decision on where to allocate these investments. We are calling here engines. Let's call them phases now. There is a first engine, which is applying technology to our processes. So try to do things better, somehow thanks to technology. The second engine is rethink on how we are doing things now. Even zero-based, we can redesign the processes knowing what technology can do, knowing the benefits. So we can start again from a white sheet of paper. And the third one is that we can do even more. I mean, we can think on new revenue streams or new businesses thanks to technology. One thing which is pretty common now is talking about data monetization. And you can create new circular business models, so you can think of something really new. Here, I'm saying, and it's something that I tell all the time, that in this specific moment, imagination is the only limit. Because thanks to technology, we can apply digital technology to almost everything. There is one good thing now, in the last, I would say, 18 months. We are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning for years. And we have really great application already in most of the industries. Think about predictive demand, think about the connection of the value chain and working on the same technologies and platform. But now we have generative AI. Generative AI, it's not only a buzz that helps everybody, I mean, in getting in touch with the artificial intelligence. Everybody had some time in playing with ChatGPT in the last 18 months, of course. But it's giving also access to other machine learning technology, other digital technologies, because it's becoming easier for everyone to interact with technology and work with something which was advanced and pretty far away until really a few months ago. A brief introduction of what I'm calling generative AI. Generative AI is part of the artificial intelligence. It's part of the machine learning. It uses models to generate content. And it starts thinking about a human brain somehow. What generative AI can do? It can summarize, of course. It can go and see and search for a lot of information and give you a summary. It can generate, meaning that they can create new things, new content. They can create images, video, audio, whatever you want. It can interact with people, so we can have this kind, and ChatGPT is pretty easy to understand, and the usage also of this kind of chatbots, it's pretty easy to understand as well. And it can do something we are calling knowledge management. Again, with their eyes and their brain, they can scout among a huge amount of material and do all the other things we said before. One thing that it's pretty clear, I think, to everybody now is the speed and the disruption that generative AI is bringing. Of course, we are always citing the fact that ChatGPT reached 100 million customers in just 2 months. And it's something that we never saw in the past. It can pass difficult exams. We are seeing the BAR exam in the United States. Now it's starting to be more like a college student than an elementary student as it was before. We can say that generative AI holds 5 superpowers. Just to share those to bring everybody on the same page. So it can go from text to text. So it can summarize, as we said before, it can create a commentary, it can write a report, it can write a draft of a document, and so on. It can do text to code, and this is really important for all the companies because it's becoming democratic, the usage of code, of software. It's something like everyone using their natural language can develop a software. It's something that was impossible in the past. It was requiring a lot of competencies, specific competencies that you can have only studying for years. He can do speech to text. That means that, and we're going to see an example later, that it can listen and, of course, transcribe what it's listening. And think about using it for a contact center. It's avoiding people to write verbatim, to read verbatim, because it can work on this kind of transcriptions. It can do text to images, so I can write what I'd like to see, and we saw a lot of paintings, pictures, and so on made by generative AI. And they can do also the opposite, image to text, which is pretty hard if you think about it, because it means that it can read something that is seeing as an image. And think about the application, for example, in education, because thanks to this kind of reading, they can help students seeing formulas, seeing images, seeing pictures, and so on. So these are the 5 superpowers, but you need to think that these are for retail usage, meaning that this is the way in which we can use using those software, those tools that we are reading here. For companies and enterprises, it means that you can put together all these different superpowers and generate something that is made bespoke for the application that you want to do within your processes. So this is the reason why I'm saying that imagination is the limit, because if you, put together all those different superpowers, you can do everything you want. I'm gonna show some examples, just to be, it's more like an inspiration gallery. Yeah. I won't go in detail of that, but I think for SMEs it's really important to see examples of people that bring this kind of things alive. And I choose 3 different verticals. One is on marketing, one is on customer support, and one is on automation in general. With the aim, and this kind of discussion we're having all the time with our clients, is that we can reach multiple goals with this kind of application. You can have a direct impact on revenues, you can reduce costs, you can increase the quality on the things you're doing, and you can reach all these different targets at the same time. You don't have to choose because of what we were saying before, especially rethinking about how we are doing things now. So to give some example on marketing, with targets of reducing costs, meaning creating a process that is more efficient, you can also uplift your revenues, and we are seeing plenty of time advertising done in a targetized way, so creating millions of different creativities, millions of different copies, and using those for target-specific customers is working, of course, much better than something which is standardized. Some examples are here, so you can do what I was saying before. So you can do personalized ads, for example, and create automation within the marketing processes. So you can say, I want this kind of advertisement with this text. I can give the machine to read what I did in the past, my database of images, what I communicated in the past as well. So it's not something disruptive or totally different from what I communicated in advance. It's only more targetized around the communication that I want to make. It's creating more an automatic process in the optimization of my digital properties. It's something that, I mean, companies were spending a lot of money on in the past, so trying to be the first one in the search engine or doing something like that. And you can create a different engagement, of course, of your customer, of your prospects, doing something like personalized landing page. So I'm going on a click and I'm seeing something that it's talking to me as a person, and not me as a general category. So it's working pretty good. On contact center, even here, of course, the case for optimization and efficiency is pretty clear. But again, you can have a deep impact on your sale as well if you are using this kind of tool to improve the communication that the customer center is doing with the client. So it's not only useful for operators of the contact center in scouting information, but it's also, for example, giving them scripts in order to better manage the communication and the conversation they're having in that moment. And something that I find really powerful is the listening activity that I was saying before, because it's not only working on the transcript of a conversation, but at the same time, this kind of engine can understand what can be improved within my processes, listening to the voice of my customers. It was pretty expensive if you wanted to do something like this in the past, because you have to do multiple calls, focus groups, and so on. And in this case, the intelligence can give you maybe 10 different activities that you can try to test and perform if you want to do better. So some example here. We work a lot, of course, as I was saying before, it can suggest scripts to the operator listening to the conversation, saying maybe you can say this, so you can offer that, and it can do it in a really, I mean, subtle way, meaning that with messages, with something that it's helping the operator in doing this. At the same time, we are seeing the evolution of this kind of approach in multiple chatbots or other properties that are have been developed in the last year to better manage the client. For example, I really like the Carrefour one because you can have a conversation with the chatbot, say, okay, I have this kind of customer, friends at dinner tonight, what do you suggest me to do? Okay, maybe there's this dish, these are the recipients, the recipe, and oh, okay, your cart now is full of all the ingredients you need to do it, and here is the way that you can cook. So I mean, it's pretty interactive. It's pretty good. It can work the same thing on travel, being more like a travel agent, suggesting you itineraries, not only the hotels and so on. So I mean, again, sky's the limit also here. If we go to the process automation, of course, maybe it's the easiest one to understand, and it's pretty close to the superpowers that we saw before. So, for example, they can draft and understand legal research. In finance, we are working a lot to improve the easiness in reading data or connecting data. So working on the decision-making process to make it more based on data that everybody can understand. They can, again, create a new content. Think about maybe a report or a word at the end of a Teams call, in which you have already written the piece of paper that you were asked to write. And one thing which is really nice, again, is the insight generation. We are calling it AI for BI. So it's creating the business intelligence process a lot easier and easy to understand. So putting together a lot of documents, reports, and data, and having something which is designed in order to take decision by everybody. I mean, it's if you think about also on the impact on competencies, it's making accessible a lot of works, a lot of really jobs that were hard to get in the past. They are more accessible now. So I'd like to close because I don't want to make it as a monologue, but 4 things are important for us here, just to summarize. And these are also the challenges for SMEs maybe nowadays. The first one is, of course, it's requiring some technical knowledge. It's not easy. There's a lot of things that are available off the shelves, of course, but it's important to understand how to put them within the company's processes. Data is something that companies are required to work on. It's the right time to work on data, on the data governance, the availability and the quality of data, because they are, mandatory in order to make all the things we saw before real. Of course, there are choices to be made on costs, on investments, even because there's a lot of trial and error here. So the investment decision should be really conscious on what we are doing now. And of course, there's also regulation, which is not clear. It's not there yet. The EU AI Act was last month, and the local regulations still need to be written. So it's important for companies to keep an eye open on everything. In general, what we are recommending as Bain is, first of all, having a strategy. So there's a disruption going on. You need to understand where you want to go, how much you want to spend on it, and be clear on the targets that you're putting on your investments. At the same time, start doing something. It's important that everybody puts their hands on this technology and see what they can do, because it's making it more real for people working there. At the same time, try maybe to do some partnerships, so to understand who are the technology player or the agencies or whoever you want to work with in the medium long-term period, because there are mutual benefits that can arise. But first of all, have a strategy and stick to the strategy.
I don't know what the audience thinks. I'd say, wow, thank you very much, Emanuele. Even before you spoke about an inspiration gallery, I wrote a note, inspiring. Inspiring was your sentence. Imagination is the limit. And beyond that, you called in the hot topic, the hotter topic, and the hottest topic of all, which is generative AI and its application, both within companies and as a companion of life when we go to the supermarkets. So thank you very much, Emanuele. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Now, our next panelist is Daniela Blandino. Daniela Blandino is the head of small and medium enterprises and commercial banking products within our international subsidiary banks division. Daniela will offer us an overview of how a bank can actually support the needs and expectations of companies within the geographies where we work in when it comes to fostering the double transition. and she will also hint at specific products, solutions, and services. The contribution of Daniela will be also enriched by a few videos that show some important examples of how digitalization has already supported some of our clients. So please, Daniela, go ahead and take the floor, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Francesco. Of course, being the last one after this really great contribution that we have seen so far is really inspiring. I was thinking of my expectations. I was thinking at my dinner, maybe I go to Carrefour and ask what to do for this evening for my husband. But going, let's say, to the core. First of all, I would like really to thank all the people connected. We have reached now more than 300 people connected, and us as corporate SME department in ISBD Bank is really an important step versus these networking talks that we have partnering with you in order to make these things available. Corporate across Europe are really undergoing a massive transformation, as we have seen in all the speech before me. And of course, sustainability and digitalization represent transformative trend that implies significant changes and opportunity also for SME that, as we all know, are really representing the backbone of our economies. But how? The question that we pose every day, how can banks support transformation and development and supporting the development in this journey? The banking system, besides banking products, we have seen with Alice some highlights of the products that we can provide, is really has a different elements. Is the pillar of the banking system is the role to allocate resources collected from deposit savings to real economy. This is the goal to support project business at the best, also with the aim to reduce, of course, environmental impact. Besides this crucial and critical pillar that is really fundamental of the banking system, also regulator demands us different way of doing business. We need to focus on future, the looking forward approach that we need to put every day in our credit application that we are struggling very hard with our credit department every day, but is really the key. We need to understand and ask our clients to think strategically in order to have the possibility to invest really in the best project as possible and allow the company, also the smaller one, really to go versus this challenging in the fastest way as possible. And environmental, social are really key for the future, not only of the business, but really for all the world. I would like to stress one great point, is people. We have in Intesa Sanpaolo one big mantra, people first. Of course, technology is easy to, no, it's not easy at all to understand, but it's easy to see how it could impact. But still, how is impacting people? How is impacting the way we are doing business together? And I do believe that people are still the core, and us in Intesa Sanpaolo Group, both in the network, both with our customer, we do believe that people are still really important. And what we have heard already is partnering. The partnering with the stakeholders, our employee, our customer, our suppliers, is really what we need to do for the future, really to be able to change the way we are doing. Probably is a different approach that we have to take, also in terms of organization, in terms of approach, because artificial intelligence, generative AI will really change how we are doing things together. What is important to say that, of course, for big corporate is quote-unquote an easy game. They got resources, it's easy to have money for big corporate than for smaller companies. They got also some push from regulators, because we know that they are forced to write sustainable reporting. So is the regulator that push the company, the biggest company, to move versus this transition. But it's of course important to say that also SME has to take this path. We have to do it together really in order to allow also the smaller company that is the backbone to really be on top of the development also of the technology. And therefore, artificial intelligence, generative AI is really something that is coming in the normal life of all of us. But let's say I will try to now to summarize in the next slide some of the key elements that we have to take into consideration. Of course, digitalization, as we have heard already from the colleagues of Bain, productivity, commercial results, customer experience are across the value chain of each business. Of course, this is very hard to give specific hints because the different industry could have different approaches. But also for banks, productivity, commercial result, customer experience are really going hand in hand. And we are really rethinking how we are doing business every day, also for taking into consideration this macro trend that is let's say, entering into our life. But I would like to stress one point. The value chain we have touched already in different of our talks is not anymore confined to the single entity. So we see in the next slide that the ecosystem is really comprehensively tackled, and so from design to dispose, the environmental, the governance, all the things that we have touched base already are really impacted in the daily activity. However, we can't work anymore as a single entity. This is crucial. We heard this morning the speech of Mario Draghi. Mario Draghi is giving us a clear path for the future. We can't work as a single entity, as a single country. We must, as Europe, join forces. And also in our daily activity as Intesa Sanpaolo Group, we should see us not as a single bank, but we are really within our ecosystem, and we have to exploit the value of this ecosystem. And honestly, having Mario Draghi supporting this approach is very helpful for us for the future. So, also these trends are pretty much important in our countries, and maybe looking at the next slide, we could have some question that we could like to put to our customer, because we do believe that food for thought, as I'm always saying, is the crucial. We need to join forces. We need to allow people think in a different way. So maybe in a couple, let's say 10, 15 years ago, this chart would have just included two elements, cost and growth, while now we had to add resilience and sustainability. We leave it to you. There are some questions that you could pose. I think we are going to share these documents with all the people connected. So this is a way you can rethink your way of doing things. And of course, we know that the value chain are really strongly connected. I got, let's say, maybe not really updated numbers, but more than 70% of the commercial interaction among countries now is based on international inter-exchange. Yeah. And maybe is even higher today. And the ecosystem, the turmoil, the COVID first, now unfortunately the war, is really impacting how things are moving. And therefore, in Europe, again, as Mario Draghi said, we need to join forces, because only if we lose our protective approach on a country-by-country level is going to be really an help for sustaining the future our business. So we have already heard you are mentioning our international subsidiary bank platform. We are really present in more than 12 countries. We have a quite extensive branches across these East and Central East and European countries, across the Balkan until Egypt. And of course, these are the call of international subsidiary bank. I do hope that a lot of clients are going to be connected. That we really think that only join forces, as I said, working together, working not as a single country, not working as a single sector. I'm responsible of SME and commercial banking products, but we need to work together with multinational, with domestic, and also with retail, with small business. Also, working together is a value for our customer. Of course, this platform is linked, of course, with Italy is our mother company, but we have also additional, in Western countries, additional hubs to really support cross-border interaction. And based on this, we are really reshaping how we are thinking and how we are moving ahead. We have touched base several times, the industrial value chain approach, meaning really another way of thinking the relationship between companies is not only segment, SMEs, corporate, domestic or multinational, is the industry that counts. We have developed really industry-specific competencies, and we need to boost additionally in the next future because of these transformation events. Either we are looking at on a different way with a different mindset, or maybe also as banks we are losing some momentum. We need to be partner of our clients. We need to really share, as I said before, the looking forward approach is only possible if we are partnering, if we are able to share information, us versus bank versus clients and vice versa. And then, of course, we are working on a long-lasting business relationship, also with some award in terms of pricing and capacity to be on the market. But moving a bit ahead on how we can really go in more details on the product side. Of course, we have introduced also in our business the digitalization. So we can say the companies, oh, please do digitalization, do rethink of your business model, but we have to do it, and we did. And we are still on the run to do it. But starting on the value chain of the companies, we are able to follow the different step of the needs, of the financing need of our company, of the companies. And so moving in vertical on working capital needs, we have developed, beside factoring, invoice financing, the Confirm It, that is a fully digital platform. If we move to the next slide, we have some really important data for SMEs. According to European Commission, 50% of the invoices are paid late. This is crucial for an SME that is normally with smaller resources available, also in terms of capital. 25% of the bankruptcy are due to late payment invoices. That's again an impressive number. And last but not least, there is the 40% of the weekly hours spent in collecting payments. So it's a huge effort, administrative effort. So in order to go in more details, I would like to leave the floor to Diego Maramotti, that is the CFO of Agro Tractor, that is a leader in the tractor manufacturing sector in Italy, in order to hear from his voice directly the experience of the confirming platform. So I leave the floor to the directors, please.
Good evening, I'm Diego Maramotti. I'm the CFO of the company Agro Tractors SPA. It's a company that is producing tractors and delivering tractors all around the world. The main production sites are based in Italy, and we do business with all importer and distributor and branches in all the countries. We closed 2023 with 800 million euro consolidated turnover, with a large distribution in Europe, in North and South Africa, and in US. We found out that the international confirming of Intesa Sanpaolo discussing about some needs we had to finance our importer, discussing with the Intesa Sanpaolo guys. So we found some opportunities accordingly with the discussion we had with these guys. The international confirming satisfied the needs of our importer that was asking for a more extended payment terms, so they can have access a payment terms, a longer payment terms, and they can finance the stock of these tractors without having the stress of the payment with the short terms. And on the other side, we have the opportunity to put on the system tractors that are paid to us on a cash basis. So once we deliver the tractor, we are paid cash, and the dealer can have access to extended payment terms. The digital platform provided by the bank was initially quite complicated, but it was only a matter to understand exactly how the system was working. After these initial activities, we found out a very well solution. We are able to load the invoices we have delivered on the system, and in a short time, we are paid cash without any problem. So the platform is working very well. For sure, we will be interested to extend this kind of solution also in other countries, mainly where Banca Intesa is doing as a bank, or where they have the affiliated banks. So we can use in a very short time this opportunity, even for importers that now are not, let's say, fully satisfied by the payment terms we are offering them. So we would like to be able to use this system also in other countries as soon as possible. So I would like to thank for this opportunity to all the Intesa guys that drive with myself and my colleague in order to load correctly the system, to check all the documents, and to assist us and our importer with all the activities to be done in order to start with this system. That's a very good system that we need to replicate as soon as possible, where the country and the importer can allow us.
So, first of all, I would like to thank all the colleagues, the guys in the network, the guys in the network in Italy, in CIB Bank in Hungary, for allowing these products and, let's say, project to go ahead. As we heard, the confirming, even if at the beginning was a bit tricky, but as you know, all the new technology put us in a different situation, and so the learning curve is there, but at the end of the day, you said it's easy way to work, so this is for us what it counts really. So we were, with these products, we are able to really anticipate cash flow, and in this case for agro-tractor, and we are really able to fulfill and to free up capacity on the credit side and reinvest this capacity in growing and additional initiatives. But I would like really to hear also the other part of the equation, because we have buyer and suppliers. Then maybe after this video with AgroTip and in particular Zoltán Balázs, maybe we can make some additional comments on the confirming. Please, I ask the director to launch the second video, please.
Hi, my name is Zoltán Balázs. I'm the sales manager of AgroTip company, which is a Hungarian agricultural equipment trade and service company in Hungary from 1996. As you have watched in the institutional video of our company, trade and service agricultural equipment in Hungary from 1996, we signed an agreement with the Italian Argo Tractors Industrial Group to take the opportunity as an official distributor of McCormick tractors in Hungary in 2021. We knew that our business partners, Argo Tractors' account holding bank is Intesa São Paulo, which led us to make contact with the correspondent bank of Intesa in Hungary in order to provide us a financial service which help us to cover the significantly increased deliveries of the ordered tractors. The correspondent bank in the Hungarian CIB Bank offered us this confirming financial service. Confirming offers benefits and advantages for both the customers and the supplier as well. As a customer in this business chain, please let me highlight some important advantages as a user of this finance prompt payment service. One of the most important advantages for us that it provides better balance sheet structure since it is not a loan. Also, it is a really important advantage is that the above average financing means the limit amount of up to 90% of the invoice value. It is worth to mentioning the additional coverage is not required at all. Among the further benefits, as well as the security and the continuous and immediate source of money. Also, please let me mention the simple and the fast application process, which was itself reassuring, especially in these tough years of the global economy. To be honest, as the user of the platform, I'm only able to highlight the pure simplicity of the system. What do I have to do? Open the bank-provided Excel file, fill it with the necessary details as the invoice number, invoice issue date, expiry date of the invoice, amount, and upload it to the bank system. That's it. That's easier done than said. To complete the uploading process does not require specialized skill or extensive experience. Currently, we don't have any needs or interest to expand the confirming to the other countries. Anyhow, we do not exclude out the possibility of the expanding, but at the moment, it is not necessary for us. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this video conference, and hoping everyone a really good year and a really good day for work. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I would like really to thank either Argo Tractor and Argo Tip to have been allow us to take the video and to be part of this networking talk that we deem really, really important. Of course, we have seen that Argo Tip said it's easy. So it's easy to say, easy to do, than to explain how to do it. So this is very important for us. And we are working for additional features really to allow companies, also smaller ones, to have access to the platform easy on ERP of the company. Of course, I would like to make some additional inputs on the value chain, or the business value chain for other products. We have already heard, so in the next slide, we have already heard from Alice the S-loan, that is a specific loan dedicated to sustainable CapEx plan with specific KPI and really with good interest rate discount. Of course, as Alice said, we are really part of the funding that comes from international financial institutions and European countries, really to be an intermediate versus the real economy, and of course we are able to fulfill all the CapEx financing need. Of course, if we move to additional channel, the sales and cross-country evolution, we have other layers to work on. First, the international network. Second, the partnership with the private equity funds. And then, of course, we are additionally helping small SME with a more complex financing in really to help them to go ahead in the development. So just a closing remark. For Intesa Sanpaolo Group, it's crucial to be part and be partner of our clients. We can't avoid this macro trend. We can't just give you money. Money is really not really valuable if we don't partner together in order really to find the best products, strategy, for the best future for all the countries and, of course, for our organization.
Well, thank you very much, Daniela. You touched on the speech of Mr. Draghi, which was held yesterday in Brussels. You highlighted the role of industrial value chains. You also focused on the changing patterns of reshoring. You spoke us about the need of partnering between banks and their clients, and also about the innovation not only within the organization of companies, but also within banks. So, I mean, you reached the goal and you gave us enough food for thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Francesco, and I will take the chance for telling to all the audience, colleagues and clients, really that we don't stop here. This is the fourth networking talks in the corporate SME department. We are already working for the new one that is moving in a more slightly different direction. We wanted to take the experience of the private equity, of the capital risk, in order to boost, as we said, also the SME companies, in order to reshape also the capital structure, to think of the next generation that is already occurred in countries like Italy, because we are, let's say, older entrepreneur story, but in our country I think there's a trend that is going to come. And therefore in the next networking talk we want to touch base on the, let's call it general private equity support for the SMEs.
So thank you. Now, Daniela is telling us that even though money is not important, capital, in terms of capital, money is important. So next time we will focus on the many ways there are and that are accessible thanks to a very big banking group as Intesa Sanpaolo is. So thank you very much. I am asking you to stay tuned for a few seconds because we are taking a very short break, after which we are answering the questions that we gathered and that came from the audience. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for the questions. I'm just going through them right now since we just gathered them. And the first one would be with Alice Grittini. Someone from the audience is asking whether there is a prediction on sustainability. Well, from your position within this large financial institution, would you say that we are on the right track? And as we, I mean, the market, the companies, the banks, is it just a transitory fashion or is something here to stay?
Well, let me say shortly that, yeah, we are in the right direction, but it's a matter of speed. So we need to accelerate. And on the other hand, the second question will refer to fast fashion or fashion movement.
Is it a fashion or is something here to stay?
No, it's something here to stay, and as I was saying, we don't have any more choice, so it's important being first movers and start rethinking, including embedding sustainability and digitalization in our business models.
Thank you very much. Alice, now I have two questions, one from Mr. Veratti and one from Mr. Massaro. I'm starting with him since he's next to me, and it is, do you think there are hurdles, there will be resistances, and where are they coming from as far as the double transition process is concerned? Just in a snapshot.
Yes, as in a snapshot, I would say that there will be resistances in this change, but this is a fight that no one can win alone. If we want to win this fight, we have to go and work together. So institutions, banks, companies, they all have to put their own interest and work together to achieve a better and much more important goal, which is the one of sustainability and innovation.
Thank you very much. As we said before, Emanuele introduced not the hotter, but the hottest topic, so generative AI. And the question says, what are the main challenges that companies are facing in implementing artificial intelligence-based transformation? And what is the key advice that you would give to them right now, if it is possible in a snapshot, of course?
Yeah, the challenge is being afraid of a new technology, of the change. So in Bain, the suggestion we're giving is win, scale, and amplify. So try to test something, make it real, make it really real. So scale it to an entire process, and then when you're finished this, go to other processes and try to amplify this kind of success to the whole corporation.
Thank you very much. And one more question for Daniela, who just held her speech. Provided the interesting experience shown as far as the confirming platform is concerned, what could be the role of the international network of the international subsidiary banks division that covers, as I said, 12 countries and is also active to a certain degree in Italy?
Okay. First of all, I would like to take the words of Bain. We are applying exactly this strategy. We are introducing Confirming, is a digital platform. We are changing the way we are doing business, but then is a first step for a more wider digital transformation. But the digital transformation for Intesa Sanpaolo is an enabler for doing business, but is the people first. The people in the network, the people that are able to still talk with clients, and this is more true for legal entity. So maybe the retail business is slightly different. We are looking at corporate SME, and we do believe that the double approach, digitalization to speed up processes, but still really strong human touch with our clients is going to be the business model that we want to take in the future. So the people in the network is the crucial assets that at the end of the day we have. We need to work on upscaling knowledge, and of course with the ESG approach we are going to hopefully to have these upscaling in the competencies, but still people first.
Thank you very much, Daniela. And one last, I'd say, provocative question for Professor Massaro. And someone is asking whether this will be the next wave of useless technologies or even of dangerous technologies. Do you think there will be any side effects coming from pursuing the target of a twin transition?
Okay, so since this seems to be a closing point, I have a huge responsibility, but we heard a lot of very important and serious things, and I would like to respond with something that hopefully will let you laugh. And my final point comes from an old proverb that became famous thanks to the Marvel comics of Spider-Man. And the point is that with great powers, high responsibility come. And I think that we do have the power of change in the future, of building something new for those that will come. It's our responsibility using these technologies, because as we heard, just creativity is the only limit that we have. We just have to use it in the right direction to achieve what is actually important for us.
Thank you very much. So with this prophecy from Spider-Man, we would like to thank all our audience and our panelists and ask you to stay tuned until the next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all.